All right, going. What's up, Magnetic Men Club? We are back here on another Friday with you guys, finally. Just a little preface before we get into this. I'm kind of in an Airbnb situation right now, so I'm subject to whatever internet I have while I'm traveling here. That's why we haven't been live the last couple of weeks, because I've kind of been on the road going through Baja, up through Mexico, back up into here in northern Utah. And so what I've kind of gotten back acquainted with was the group that we have, our free Facebook group. If you're not in there, make sure you guys join that Facebook group, because Jared and I both go in there with topics all the time where we'll ask different questions and try and get different content, different topics that we can talk about as men inside of that group to help us all on our journey. And so I apologize if you guys see me freezing. You guys should have Jared the whole time here. But ultimately, what we wanted to talk about today was one of those topics that Jared put live here this last week, where he was asking everybody if they were struggling financially and how many people in there were struggling financially, which obviously takes guts to admit. And so one thing that I've seen is, like, obviously, like, I'm Chase with before I get too far into things. But ultimately, what I've seen too over time with the media and everything, with all how the economy is perfect, how this is the best, strongest economy that we've seen of all time, basically. And so there's a lot of people saying things like that. That's a lot of what we're seeing in the narrative. But what we're hearing from actual people, when you ask people, when you talk to people in the streets, when you talk to people at work, when we talk to people on our coaching calls, is everybody keeps telling us that, they're not doing so good financially, that things aren't going so well. They're struggling to keep up with their bills. They can't keep up with the utilities. They can't keep up with the taxes. They can't keep up with paying rent and a mortgage. They can't keep up with their car payments. They have to dip into their credit card. They have to refinance the house to even try and go on any kind of vacation or trip or enjoy anything, just to keep up with their lifestyle. And everybody's so strung out now on their credit. They're so far into debt now that it's tapping out. They're basically to a point now where the dam's about to burst, right? So that's a lot of what we're seeing going on. People can't buy the same amount of groceries anymore. They can't buy the same amount of gas anymore. They can't travel the way they used to anymore. A lot of them are locked at home and doing free things and trying to just go to the park, and they're having to uproot their entire lifestyles because of these things. And that's obviously not everybody. What I'm seeing as a general consensus, even from the Facebook thread, was that, 80% of people say they're struggling pretty good. Maybe another 10% of people are saying that, they're not struggling, but they're still counting change here and there. They're not doing extremely exceptionally well, but they're able to pay for most things. And then there's another subset of the group that are doing way better than they were doing 4 years ago, 5 years ago, right? Because 4 years ago, we were in the pandemic. That obviously has caused a lot of the issues that we're dealing with financially here. But I just thought it was an interesting topic. But I also wanted to preface this with the fact that, we're not financial advisors here. This is just a topic that we wanted to talk about, that we know a lot of people are struggling with, and we just kind of wanted to give our 2 cents on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And anybody who's watching this in the Facebook group, obviously we're not going to tag you or anything, but I do appreciate, because we had a huge number of men that said, "Yeah, man, I'm struggling." Like, without getting political, they said 4 years ago I was doing much better. Whether they were or not, who knows? But the point is, we're in a new time. We're in a new era where, look at, eggs are up, everything's up. No matter what you look at, everything costs more than it did probably 4 years ago. And who can you blame? Well, again, without getting political, we're not gonna go into that too much. You guys can all read between the lines on that. But the result is the same for everybody. If you're struggling and you have a family and you're a man, you kind of feel like a failure sometimes, because you might have more month than money and you're struggling. You're trying to scrape change, or you ask your parents for money, or robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're not able to pay bills, and you let those bills kind of go because you have a rent or a mortgage payment that you have to pay. I get it. Like, I've been there, guys. I'm 49 years old. Chase, how old are you? I'm sorry. You're 34?
I'm going to be 35 next week.
Okay. So, well, almost happy birthday. We're gonna do a happy birthday probably next live for you. But so I've been around. I've seen a shit ton of administrations, and I've seen a shit ton of ebb and flow in the economy. I've been very poor, and I've been very rich, and I feel you guys. I understand. When I posted the Facebook question on who's struggling, I wasn't expecting what I was expecting because, guys, I really went into every single one of your profiles and I saw what you did. And some guys were, in the trades. Some guys didn't really say what they did. So maybe it's service. It's across the board. And so when Chase, because Chase usually does the lives as far as, or the hangouts, like as far as what the topics are, because I'm busy and he watches the trends and stuff like this. And it was shocking to me to see how, well, it was shocking to me and it wasn't. I kind of figured a lot of people were struggling, but the amount of men that actually had the balls to say, yeah, I'm struggling, because we as men, oh, everything's fine, everything's good. No, we got this. No, we're fucking good. But when you condense it down and you're in a men's like 99.99% Facebook group, there's a few women, but when you ask them, and they feel safe saying, "Yeah, dude, I'm fucking struggling. This fucking economy sucks. The more I make, the more the fucking government takes." And I'm sorry, I'm throwing a lot of f words, but I feel your pain because the worst person I want to pay is fucking Uncle Sam. I fucking hate paying that dude. That dude can suck my dick. Sorry. And so I get your pain because it's not so much how much money you're making, it's how much money you're actually taking in. And so part of this topic is talking about taxes and how the tax system is they're just robbing you, between the state and the federal government. You're at 43%, no matter how you look at it. It's 43% of your money goes to all different types of taxes, whether it's, your property tax, sales tax, income tax, all of this. The government is probably the ultimate, what is that word, mafia. They're probably the ultimate mafia, and they are going to take their money, especially if you're an employee. They're going to take their money first, and it sucks. It's not the way it should be. We went literally to war, what, 200 years ago over tea for 3% tax. We literally went to war over this. And here we are at 43%. Everyone's like, yes, take my money. This is normal. We need to give all of these illegal immigrants coming in. They deserve all of this shit. I'm not saying we as all of us, but this is how our government thinks. Well, the administration that's in there now thinks. And so it's defeating. On top of the fact that you can't pay your own bills, a lot of people are getting free rides right now. And the fact that when you make really good money, they tax the shit out of it,
Right.
let alone the very poor who don't work at all. And I'm not saying all, I'm saying most people who are very poor, it's by design. Why work more when I'm going to get free fucking PA, Section 8, HEAP, food stamps? Like, sometimes it pays to be very poor. Yeah, you don't have any character and you don't have any really reason to bitch about the situation, but in the US right now, it
The thing
pays to
is,
be
too, is
very
like
poor or ultra rich. The
I
middle
think
class, we
too,
get
like
fucked.
with a lot of these people, like just being poor, like it doesn't make you a loser or anything like that. That's not exactly what we're saying either. Like basically, any number of things can happen to any number of people at any time. Like we don't know exactly what anybody's story is. We don't know why they're struggling, what has happened to cause them to struggle. Like certain areas of the economy go down sometimes, and certain other
Dude,
areas come up. And so that's the thing too, is even in like the 2008 recession, like a lot of the people that I know in my business groups and circles that I'm in, a lot of them came up during the 2008 recession. And so
Yeah.
like the thing is like identifying those different opportunities, because there's a lot of different things that you can do, and we don't know exactly why anybody ends up in the situation that they end up in. Like you feel like a
Yeah.
loser, you feel like you've lost something, but at the end of the day, like maybe you couldn't control a lot of what happened. Maybe you just lost a job that you invested a lot into over the years. Maybe one of your investments went the wrong way. Like any number of things can happen to kind of
Yeah.
put you from the top to the bottom. And so if you are at the top, be grateful, because it could happen to change at any single time. And if you're at the bottom, it can equally change at any single time. Like there's obviously a shuffle in the economy every single time things kind of move this way, where things are inflating the way they are because of the economics of it all. It's hard to talk about economics and an economic situation without getting political. It's hard
Yeah.
to say it's this party's fault versus that party's fault. Like there's a lot of different reasons for these things. And there's a lot of reasons that people end up where they do. And like, yeah, it's great to
Absolutely.
kind of make your own way and make sure that you're saving money and making sure that you're investing in assets, because assets are really the only thing that you can get that will change your situation in a way that nothing can really affect you.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned 2008, and I'm going to share something with you guys that I typically don't talk about, but I'm not ashamed of it. Is I went bankrupt, literally Chapter 13 bankrupt in 2008 when the markets shut down. Now, to give you some context on that, I was a commercial mortgage loan broker. And basically, what that meant is somebody wants to buy an apartment complex, a hotel, anything commercial where I lived. You had two choices. You go to a bank or you go to a broker. Now, the benefit of a broker is I had access to many banks, so I could create a package that every banker could understand and shotgun it so that I provided my clients options. But if you go to, say, like MNC or Bank of America, you're only applying to that bank. So for a while, brokers were sought after. And then we obviously made a commission based on, look at if it was a $3 million property or project or 30 million, whatever, we'd usually charge a point to our client, and then we would play with the spreads, which would be what is the par rate versus what is the spread. So we might make 2, 3, or 4 points on the back end. So that $3 million property, I'm not just making 30 grand up front. I'm probably in the back end making another, $200,000 on a transaction. And this is what literally even today what brokers do. Well, back into 2008, here's what happens. They shut down all lending for a period of time. So if they're shutting down lending, I have no access to capital. If I have no access to capital, my clients have no access to capital. So you're kind of screwed. And so I was very heavily leveraged. I had real estate. I lived like what I made, and I was very heavily leveraged. But when my income completely dried out, I was like, holy shit, what do I do? Well, I tried to work with the banks. Long story short, I just had to like basically burn down Rome. And so I'm not ashamed to admit it, because what I learned during that process versus where I'm at now, I'm a much healthier capital position. But if you guys have gone through a bankruptcy, if you guys are just like, what do I do? Like, what? I just can't work anymore. I just can't do this. I do think the way that the system's set up where bankruptcy is an option, and I'm not going to promote it. I'm just saying that it is a way where creditors are equally as liable for lending the money. And that is a good system, because back in the day, remember a couple hundred years ago, you get shot if you freaking owed somebody money, you get freaking shot. At least I look at it now this way. The way I make money, it's a game. The way people, millionaires, billionaires play a game. Look at Donald Trump. He's been bankrupt, I believe, 4 times, and people like to dig at him for saying that. But that's a legal strategy. That's a legal strategy. Does he suck at running hotels? Maybe. Is he really good at running other companies? Yeah. This is why people still give him money. But the point of the whole thing, what I'm saying is, dude, we all make mistakes. I certainly made mistakes back in 2000, like 2004, 5, 6, 7, when I, anybody who called me, I was making like 100 grand just off of a phone call. I'm like, yeah, I'll spend that. I lost boats. I lost cars. I lost houses. I almost lost my marriage. That left a year later. But I was living like so high, and then I came right back down to earth. And then I had to figure out what the hell I was going to do. What am I going to do? And a lot of you guys are asking that same question. It doesn't matter if you were doing the things I was doing. What are you going to do right now? You make X amount of money. Here's your base, and your expenses are up here. You can't audit that. How do you do this? And so I wanted to do a video. I'm glad Chase brought it up on what are some of the things that you can do to maybe at least get to even, and then ride this out. Because here's the thing that I do know, we're in a shitty time. There will be good times. It will happen again. You will have a season in your life where you're winning. You might be in a season of your life now where you're losing. There might also be somebody right now in a season of their life who's winning in this economy. They're fucking winning. They just got on a certain horse. They just got on a certain thing that's winning. That doesn't mean they're always going to win. And so the key thing I want to do a takeaway on here is it's an ebb and flow. Your situation is different than everyone's situation. But what can we do to hedge against these huge flows? Because the US economy seems to be this huge flow. It's never like, a little bit. It seems to be 2008, and then we ride it out. And some people do really well, and then some people just crash and burn. How do we kind of have a happy medium where when shit hits the fan, we're not that affected? That's what I wanted to talk about. Some strategies you guys can take away in this video to maybe contemplate, think about, does it work for you? It might not work for everybody. And that's what that's to me. And a lot of it is living above your means. This is my problem in 2008. I lived like I made, I think my 2008 income was $750,000 that year. Well, how much taxes do you think I had to pay? A shit ton, because I had to show it all because people were paying me. So a lot of it is your income versus how you live. And sadly, most people's income, their lifestyle is really at how they live. And the rich just don't do that. The rich just do not do that. And you can say, "Oh, easy, it's easy for you." Somebody like Elon Musk is worth the richest man in the world. The dude lives in a $50,000 house. He wears pretty much the same clothes every day. What makes you think your lifestyle should be better than his? Now, that's an extreme example, but there's so many people out there that are super rich that money to them is a game. Money to the common person is survival. And how do you make that switch? Maybe Chase, you can kind of chime in on
So
this. How does somebody make that switch? Because these guys think it's a game. They're like, dude, okay, I lost the fucking 3 billion. Who cares? Doesn't affect
Well, I
them at
mean,
all.
the thing is like it kind of makes me think about my whole entrepreneurship journey from start to finish. Because, like, I mean, I grew up in extreme poverty. I never had most necessities growing up. I never had cable. I didn't have a computer or anything growing up or anything like that either. And so I grew up with like extenuating circumstances. Even when I came into 2008, like I couldn't find a job. I couldn't really do anything. And so, like, what I would suggest to a lot of people is like there's varying degrees of this. Like when you're first starting out and like you're kind of in that employee mindset, like you're to a point where like you have to have a job. Somebody has to tell you what to do. You have to go after a particular result that they expect from you, and in exchange for that, they'll buy your time. They'll give you this much money per hour, this much money to do that job. And so that's the agreement
Yeah.
that you come to with a lot of different people. And then you spend the majority of your time doing that job. And then
Mhm.
they pay you for doing that job. And so that's kind of the mindset a lot of these guys are in when they first get started. And they don't realize, like, hey, well, you get really good at doing that job that person hired you to do. They told you exactly how to do the job. They gave you the equipment. They gave you everything you need. You do the job for them. They pay you. And so that's the thing is like a lot of people start to get to a point where like I can do this job better than they do this job. I could go and do this job for people and make my own money and cut them out entirely. But what a lot of them don't realize is it's a lot more work than you expect. Like you go from working the one job to working 10 jobs. And so that's what running a business is like. And so what I would suggest to a lot of people is don't try to do that all at once. Like if you really like you really need to free yourself. So that's one big thing is if you're working for somebody else and you're not able to save any money, like so that's the first factor here is you have to earn money. Where are you going to earn money? How are you going to earn money? What are you going to do in exchange for money? That's the first thing any of us has to answer at this. And so, really, what this comes down to is yeah, you can go work for somebody, they'll pay you the hourly wage, whatever. Or you can do a side hustle. You can go and freelance for different people. You can start your own like lawn mowing business, whatever. There's lots and lots and lots of different ways to make money.
Yeah.
Making money is not hard. It's just a matter of what people need to solve, what they're willing to pay for, and what you can provide. And so understanding that how valuable you are as a person comes down to those things. What exactly are you capable of doing that other people can't do? And are people willing to pay for it? Does it solve a real problem that those people have? And how can you get in front of those people? And so that's really the shift in thinking that you need to come down to is like, okay, you can make as much money based on you solving those different things and the more complex problems that you solve. And so, really, what that comes down to is investing in yourself. You really need to invest whatever extra money, whatever extra time you have into skilling yourself up. You need
Yeah.
to get skills, you need to get tools, you need to get things that you can sell in exchange for money. That's really what's going to free yourself from this. So, in essence, you need to go and start earning money. You need to spend less of that money than you make. You need to take the remainder of that and invest it. And the best investment that you can make is yourself. From there, the other investments that you can make, obviously, we have more millionaires alive today from real estate than anything else. So the biggest
Yeah.
thing is you can invest in real estate or you can invest in businesses. What you really need here is assets, things that make you money without you having to do anything. If you are working in your business, then your business is not an asset. If you are living in your house, then your house is not an asset. So you're talking about the things that don't require you as a part of the equation. You have to invest in other houses that you rent out, that you try and build up and flip for more money. You try and build
Yeah.
more actual equity into. You need to take that equity and reinvest it into more of those things, right? So that's how
Yeah.
you'd make the money from real estate. You can invest in businesses. You can either go and invest in other people's ideas. You can team up with other people to do different things. You can make partnerships out of it. Each of you can invest into it. You can go through investing firms, that kind of stuff too. You can invest in stocks, which is investing in other businesses. You can invest in index funds who will invest your money for you, and then you just make an automatic return off of that stuff. There's lots and lots and lots of ways to make money. The
Yeah.
key thing that you want to understand here is you need to earn money. You need to spend less than you earn. You need
Yeah.
to invest the remainder. And then you need to make more money that doesn't require you as a part of the equation. That's the keys to success, really, in any of this. And that's really what frees you from being part of the system that kind of keeps you enslaved to it.
Yeah. No. No. What is your thoughts on skills though? So it's cool that you said all this, but if you're a man watching this, maybe a young man or maybe even older man who doesn't really have a skill set, they haven't really learned, maybe they've been in service all their life. And maybe to be fair, their skill set is they're really good with people. That's why they're in service. But the service industry doesn't really make money. I mean, I'm in New York, and I think minimum wage is like $15 an hour. But when I go down to the South, the minimum wage is a lot less. Now, of course, the cost of living is less. But the point is, What if you're just scraping by and all the money that you have, minus your taxes, maybe you're married, little Sally needs braces, like everything that you make that you actually get to take home, there's nothing left. How can this guy or girl, if they're watching this, like Chase, how the fuck can I make more? Like I'm literally working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. What more can I do other than die? And then when you die, you fucking have taxes that your state has to pay. So what in your experience, in your 30, almost 35 years, what? What what more can I do?
Oh yeah, that's
Because
the
it's
thing for a lot of
frustrating, right?
people.
It's frustrating, right? Because guys are,
Yeah,
I'm probably like, what the fuck, Chase? Yeah, that's cool. I have to invest in this and this. With what money?
right.
So I don't know. Like, I don't know what the answer is. So I want to know yours.
So my answer to that would be, well, do you have time? Like whatever extra time you have is the time that you could spend actually applying a skill. So like one book that I read recently when we were doing our purpose workshop and all that stuff was Robert Greene's Mastery. And in that book, he talks about your life's task. And like, really, that's the thing that you want to spend. Like, because the thing is like, whether we do, no matter what we do, we spend about 80% of our time doing something, and 20% of our time we don't really control. It kind of just goes to sleep. It kind of just goes to whatever it goes to, right?
Yeah.
But we spend 80% of our time, most of the time, just working. Like, most of the time, we're doing some kind of mundane job we don't like. And we're kind of just going home and coping with our lives for what it is because we're not making enough money to do anything else. And so we go home, we sit around, we watch TV, and then we basically just go back to work and go to sleep and do it all over again, over and over and over and
Right.
over and over again, right?
Yeah,
Rinse, wash,
exactly.
repeat. And so that's the biggest thing is understanding that that's going to continue as long as you let that continue. Like eventually you've got to either find more time or you've got to find more money somewhere. And so if you don't have money and you can't really make more money and you have really no means of making more money anywhere, at that point, well, what are you spending your time doing? Like you need to find the thing that you really want to do more of and then figure out a way to make money from that thing. And so that's not talking about passions or anything like that. Like you can really be passionate about anything that you're good at. And passion is an emotion, and passion fades. Passion and purpose are not the same thing. It's understanding that like purpose, when you find really what that thing is, see that's the thing too, is like even looking at masters in the past, like Leonardo da Vinci and like Darwin, Charles Darwin, right? They were masters of their crafts. They just spent more time doing those things than anybody else did, and they invented new things into those career fields, right? Because Leonardo da Vinci, like he invented new ways of doing art. He invented new ways of casting iron, things like that, right? And he did that because he was a master at what he did. And the
Yeah.
same thing with Darwin too. Darwin loved just cataloging things and categorizing things. He didn't really just kind of started to notice differences between different biological creatures in different places because he just loved cataloging those things. And so it's something simple that you can be good at, but using it and applying it and turning it into something that can make you a lot of money is the key to everything, because now you will spend 80% of your time doing something that actually lights you up, that actually makes you happy, that actually leaves you feeling fulfilled, which leaves you feeling a different energy, right? So I would wager that if you're broke and you're working 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week, whatever it is, and you still have nothing to show for it at the end of the day, you have no time because you're working most of the time, I would wager you're doing something that you don't like doing, that like you really doesn't light you up in your day, that leaves you feeling drained at the end of every single day, which is why you always feel tired and you don't feel driven, you don't feel motivated. And
Yeah.
so what I would encourage you to do is figure out what does make you feel energized, what does light you up, and then try and figure out a way to do more of those things, because the more of that you do, the more energy you're going to have going into this every single day. And it's really
Yeah.
just kind of getting that right? Like figure out exactly what that thing is that energizes you, that lights you up, and then just do more of it. And so a lot of the time, that's not something that really costs money. Like the thing is too, is I see a lot of people who will go into woodworking. Like they've been working a whole job that they hate their whole lives, and they go into woodworking, they get their wood shop put together, and they start just selling these $10,000 tables, different things like that, right? They start making barn doors, wood doors that people start buying from them. There's so many different things that you could go into, that you could do, that would light you up, that you would spend most of your time doing, that most of the people would look at you, they think that you're crazy. that like, why would you spend so much time doing that stupid thing when it's all about mastery, and it's about mastering one thing. And when you find out what that one thing is for you, you spend 80% of that time feeling energized, feeling good all the time. And like I said, it's not really anything to do with passion or anything like that. Don't go look for the thing that just makes you happy and passionate, because like video games probably aren't going to make you much money. But at the end of the day, if you can find, like I said, woodworking, if you can go into like landscaping and being able to like make sculptures out of different things, I don't know what it is, man. But if you can find that one thing that lights you up that you like doing and then figure out how to make money from it, that's going to make all the difference in your day, because you're going to spend most of your time feeding back on that thing.
There's a So guys, if you don't know, one of my companies is called Scalp International Hairlines, and I basically help men and women, but mostly men who are losing their hair. And in Syracuse, so I have two locations, but in Syracuse, this guy, he did a Zoom call with me, and he had this beard. He looked like ZZ Top. He looked homeless. But his wife is absolutely a stunner. She was the one that was talking. I'm telling you this, I'm getting someplace with this. He comes in, he liked the price, whatever, and he has a full head of hair. Anyway, he just wanted it more full. I'm talking to him like, dude, what do you do? He's like, dude, I'm a glass blower. I'm like, what is, and I didn't really know what that meant. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I create bongs. Really? He's like, yeah, dude, like, yeah, I have a pretty unique business. I've been doing this for 20 something years, and my wife is actually opening up a legal weed distillery in this area. I'm not going to say the area because it's very small, but in this area of New York. I'm like, really? I'm like, so like, why would people buy your bongs as opposed to go, to a weed shop? He goes, oh, the I just sold 150 pieces to what the hell's that famous country singer? He's like, my pieces go to like high
Willie Nelson,
end. No, Jelly Roll. He
Jelly
goes,
Roll.
Jelly Roll found me through his agent, and it's all been word of mouth for the last 20 years. And this is the most humble guy, and he doesn't live very lavishly. He's like, no, man, I don't care. He goes, I'll make them what they want, and then they'll give me tickets, and they pay me, of course. And I'm like, let me ask you a question. I just want to know this. It's like, what is the average price of just a bong that you make specifically for it's mostly famous football players. He was rattling off. He goes, I don't even watch football. I know most of them. I have them in my phone most of the time. I'm like, what? He's like, probably the average like 5 grand. But when they want like a whole ensemble of stuff I create, probably 30 grand. So just think about that. Like, I'm not just saying, like, obviously he's an exceptional guy. He is very well crafted. He's like, but dude, all I make is bongs. If you want me to make like anything else glass, I don't even know how to do it anymore. I just make bongs and I make everything that goes with bongs. I told my kids about him, and he's like, he's one of the most famous guys in the world for this because you can Google his name. I didn't know. I'm like, I don't smoke weed. They're like, can you get me one? I'm like, probably, but I don't know. The point is, like, you mentioned follow your passion, and I do agree with that if your passion creates value for somebody else. So clearly, this guy, he creates
So yeah,
massive value. But sometimes a lot of people hear this thing, follow your passion, and your passion's stupid. I'm sorry, you might love it,
well,
but
see,
can
here's the
you
thing.
market it?
It's kind of niching down, like just like he did. Like you got to
Yeah,
kind of niche down into it. So like there's like everybody and their freaking mother and their brother and their brother's freaking dog runs Facebook ads, right? But
right,
when you're the guy that runs Facebook ads for like a specific cosmetic procedure or whatever, like
right,
then you're going to be sought after by that particular community, right?
Right.
And so it's really finding your audience. You need to figure out exactly where your audience is and why they look for you. And then you got to be the guy that does that. And
Right.
so as long as you're the guy that people have to reach out for that, it's really just a matter, okay, you have a market that's willing to spend money. You have this thing that they really want. You're really good at it. You like doing it. That's when you find that winning combination. And so
Mhm.
even like with like websites and stuff like that too, maybe people like building websites. Well, you want to be the guy that builds websites for anything specifically in that, right? Like you want to really niche down, be the guy that does it for coaches, be the guy that does it for specifically life coaches who do this one specific thing, right? Like the more you can
Right.
kind of niche down and still find your market, the better off you're going to be with this. And so that's really what this comes down to. Like maybe you want to be a guitar player, but maybe you don't need to be some famous rock star. Maybe you just make jingles for online commercials and things like that too. And you just make that money from the commercials and you make royalties and stuff like that. There's so many different ways to turn really anything into a cash making thing. It's just realizing what is the thing that you want to spend most of your time doing, then doing it for that amount of time and putting yourself out there, really being social with this stuff. You got to talk to other people. All of the opportunities, anybody who's going to pay you, everything is on the other side of other people. And maybe you are just a people person. Maybe you like just talking to people and opening up conversations. Well,
Yeah.
every single company, every business on the planet needs a good salesperson. And so that's the biggest thing too, is understanding that like you can really turn anything that you're really good at or anything that you enjoy doing with most of your time, even if it is just talking to people, into a real cash making opportunity. It's just getting creative with the way you think it makes money. You don't need to make money the conventional way that everybody else makes money, but the more you niche down and specialize in that one thing that you can be really good at and you can be the person known for it, well, then you become sought after for it. And as long as there is a market for it, which you have to make sure of too, that's why you have all these different things. Like just started out as freelance, just started out as something that's just kind of a hobby for you at first and just kind of see what it becomes. But just make sure it's something that you enjoy doing most of your time.
Yeah. No, I like that. I want to ask you about fear. From what when I've coached men and even in our Facebook group, it seems like they might be very smart men in whatever field they want to go into, or maybe a field they're into, but they seem paralyzed into going all in. They almost seem like they have one foot in, one foot out, because maybe an old rule that has come up, maybe their parents said this, is like, hey, you're really good, whatever, you're never, they might say old rules like money can't buy you happiness, or money can't buy you freedom, or who knows what's programmed into them. But I've noticed in our Facebook group specifically, a lot of men have this idea that they can't get ahead. And because they've already cemented it into their brain, I can't get ahead, that's their anchor. And I feel like society wants them to do that because they just want them to pay taxes on what they have, but it's fear. It's a fear-based thought that they have. It's like, why can't you get ahead? Oh, because I'm only
That's just
working
it.
at Applebee's as a server. Okay, fair enough. That's not a great job, but can you be the best fucking Applebee's server there's ever been? And there's this fear that they they enjoy the job, they don't love it. But if you're employed, I think a lot of people that are employed miss the point is be thankful you're employed.
Right.
Even if it's a very dumb job. Like you see it right now. I went to McDonald's to get I love I love their chocolate shakes. Half the fucking
Sure.
McDonald's places, their fucking chocolate machines never work. But I went there, and even these people are making 15, $16 an hour. They have shit poor attitudes. I'll never go back to that McDonald's again. But it's like if I had a server who was smiling, like, oh my God, let me get this for you, like just boom, bam, boom. It might not be a great job, but the supervisor and everyone's like, okay, this person's of value. Like this person we don't want to lose.
Yeah.
This person is personable, they have character, they have charm. I just think there's a lot of stuff that what you could do with what you have, you need to appreciate it. And this is the point of it. It's like a lot of people bitch about their situation, but it could be far worse. Be far
Right.
worse. You could have cancer. You could have a dying brother. You could be dying. You
It
could
can
just
always
be,
be worse.
and it's about gratitude. Like, listen, have I been poor? Yeah, but I still kind of been I still have gratitude. I'm like, okay, my kids are healthy, that they're eating. I might not be, but I'm making sure they're fed. Maybe my wife and I both had to kind of scale back at the time where we made sure, like, you have gratitude. Like, look at shit might not be working, but some things are. And I think once you get in your head that this particular thing, I'm not making money, I'm not getting ahead, you throw out everything else that is working. And I think having gratitude and getting grounded. I just talked to my daughter about this, and I'm going to tell you another story. My daughter, obviously, you guys know my ex-wife. She passed away, God, 9 years ago. Um, 9 years ago, very unexpectedly. And my kids are actually starting. They're starting to process it now. My 23-year-old daughter, she's never been completely right. Part of that is because she actually watched her die. She actually watched, like, she saw what was happening. She didn't know she was going to die, but she saw her turning blue. Saw her throwing up. I won't get into how she died, but it was basically a massive heart attack. That's burned into my daughter's mind right now. Okay, so it has kind of resurfaced over the last maybe year or so, like really bad, like really bad. And my daughter, we just had this conversation where she broke up with her boyfriend. This is the trigger. And she was wondering what he's doing and wondering if they'll ever get back together and wondering why she wasn't enough. Everything was forward thinking, future. You can't produce the future. Then she started thinking about mom and how would mom handle this? And I started grounding her down. I said, look at all of your anxiety. Everybody who's watching this, your anxiety can only come from one or two places. Predicting future outcomes that might never happen or dwelling on the past. Grounding yourself onto gratitude. What is working today? I'm healthy. My brother, my son, he's healthy. He's happy. She has a job. I'm healthy. I'm happy. When you ground yourself to today, there is no possible way you can be depressed. There's no possible way you can have anxiety. It can't happen because you're only focusing on the present day. And so when I see these guys on Facebook and other guys I quote or coach is like, listen, I know it sounds woo-hoo, but it's not. What is working in your life right now? At least you can grab onto that. Maybe you have a wife and maybe you have kids. They're happy, they love you, they still respect you. Yeah, things aren't working out financially right now, but you're still the leader. They know you're going to find a way, and you feel joy about that. You feel joy about the blessings God has given you. I feel like a lot of people just throw God out. I'm like, oh well, fuck it. Like, I can't make any money. The government's taking more because they will. That my boss doesn't give me a raise. Fuck him. He gave me a 1% raise. Inflation's 3%. This is bullshit. And they blame everybody else. And it's not so much about blaming, it's about, okay, what is working? What do I have in my life that I can hold on to and at least have something for myself? And it's always family. It's always family, your kids, if you have them, your wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. So when I told my daughter this, she was super upset, but then like a light, like I saw it. When I coach guys, I see a light, I see a flick. I'm like, oh, it came in. That was her domino. We talk about dominoes a lot. She's like, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, I'm always thinking about the future. I'm always thinking about mom in the past. but I never think about like what I really do have right now. And I have a really amazing life. I said, just dwell on that. That's all you can do. And the biggest takeaway in this video is just that's all you can do. Like, you will drive yourself fucking mental if you don't focus on just today. Are your bills paid today? Well, kind of, sort of, but okay, they're paid today. My kids are happy. They're fed. I'm fed. Do I want more? Of course. And I want to do more. And we'll get into that in a minute. But I need everybody to understand this. The anxiety can only come from two ways, the future or the past. It cannot exist in the present. So ground yourself to the present. Figure out what is working in your life. Figure out what you are grateful for. Be happy for that. Yes, always want more. Don't settle for your lot in life, but God is providing for you. There is a path forward. You have to figure out what it is. But I come back to being afraid. A lot of men are afraid just to do a little bit more, or just afraid to be like, what if? I've coached so many men, and the word what if. What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if she says no? What if my boss says no? What if I can't do it? Flip it. What if she says yes? What if my boss says yes? What if I can do it? What if I can't do it? Who gives a fuck? Like, does it really matter? Money sucks. Money is just a thing. It's a tool. It's just really the rich think of it as a scorecard. The poor people think is this thing that defines them, and it's not. It's just not. Chase, you've been poor, you've been rich. I've been poor, I've been rich. People watching this, it comes and it goes. Yes, you want to find a way to make it so it doesn't come so much and go so much. You want to find it that way. Yeah, I get that. But what if? That's the word. Like, what if you have an idea and you think it'll work, but you're so afraid because society's telling you that's a dumb idea, or your wife's telling you it's a dumb idea, or she's worried that it's going to fail. You won't know unless you try. That, like, I don't want to be all sappy on this, but it's like so many men that I know, or I've read books on, even, is
Right.
the graveyard is the most expensive piece of real estate, because everyone dies with hopes, dreams, songs they never written, books they've never written, things they've never done. I don't want to be like that. I'm one of the rare people. Like, I will go broke. I don't give a fuck if I go broke, and I've done it before. I'll do it again. It does not bother me at all, because I know I'll just pick myself up and just figure out again.
Right.
So this scared mentality, I want guys watching this. Yes, it sucks, and it does feel really wrong to want things and have this idea when you're not making the money, but you have to lean into it, because I do believe that God's like, listen, dude, like, you want to do this. He gave you this thought. He gave you this inspiration. When we did Magnetic Men Club, me and Chase both said, how the fuck are we going to pay for this? Do you know how
Yeah.
much money, like, Chase knows because it's the tech side. Do you know how much money it costs to run all of these different apps, all of these different things that we have to run just to keep it going? People think it's like, oh, I just do a Facebook group. Fuck no, that's just the first thing. And then when you ask people, hey, we have this app, we have this private group app that has way much more information, more detailed information specific to
All the
you. What do people
courses.
do? Oh, it's too expensive. How do you know? Yet you'll go buy a pack of cigarettes, you'll go buy beer, you'll go buy the newest Nikes, drive the nicest fucking car, but you won't do anything for yourself. Those are for all other companies. If you're struggling right now, you have to understand there's an opportunity cost on everything you do. If you don't do the thing that you know you need to do, there's an opportunity cost. If you stay where you are in your fucking life, there's an opportunity cost, because you could be so much more in your life. If you don't invest in yourself, there's an opportunity cost. If your wife says, "Oh, you you can't buy that app, or you can't go to that seminar, or you can't try to better yourself," there's an opportunity cost, whatever you do. So the choice is, what's the opportunity cost? What am I willing to give up today in order to have a better future tomorrow? And this is where I think a lot of men, and I'm not putting a value judgment on you guys watching this because I get it, but this is where a lot of men will always just stay where they are because they're not willing to do stuff for them that they know they should be doing, invest in themselves.
Well, see,
And then 10 years go by, 20 years go by, and they're exact like we watch it in Facebook. I'm like, dude,
yeah.
that's me in 20 years. Like, I love you guys watching this, but it's like, dude, no, fuck your your whole thought process is fucking wrong. And I want to help them, but they won't even buy into the app. They won't even buy into coaching. They won't even buy in it. They just want to argue like little
Well, see,
girls.
that's exactly what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about people investing in themselves. And so here's the thing: is like you can go and invest in a new pair of Nikes, you can go and invest in a nice car, a McLaren, or whatever, right? But you're really
Sure.
just increasing the value of that company. Like you're not really increasing the value of yourself. And so, yeah, that company's making a lot of money because of people like you who continue to invest in that stuff because it makes them feel better or whatever. But does it really make you more money? Does it really do anything for you? Does having that new pair of shoes do anything for you? Does having that new car do anything for you? And that's what we're talking about with skills and investing in yourself. Because like when you actually have skills, one big thing that I've learned in entrepreneurship and even like building business systems and stuff like that for other businesses is people don't tend to see the money that they're not making. Like I've seen companies completely miss out on making $500,000 just with one simple little thing they could have done differently. And they
Sure.
just didn't see that that money was there. And so they didn't care. And so they didn't do anything about it. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, you could have added another $500,000 to your company if you had known that was there. And that's why you pay the people who know what they're doing. And that's why people value skilled people. Is because when you have a consultant in your business who can see those different things, who knows those different things, it makes a massive difference. You make a lot more money. That's one thing you start to realize. Like you invest in yourself on the come up, but the more you invest in other people, and the right people for the job as you go through this, the more valuable you'll become. What rich people understand that poor people don't is they can buy the best people. Like they can buy the best tax lawyers, they can buy the best accountants, they can buy the best marketing managers. And so that's what they focus on doing. They want to pay people who are extremely skilled and extremely smart at what they do,
Mhm.
and then they never want to stop paying those people. And so
Right.
your idea is like, okay, well, you need to become the person that can pay those people, or you need to become one of those people because then you'll always have security. You'll never have to worry about anything. But it all comes down to those skills. And so maybe you don't have the skills that you need, but at the end of the day, if you just spend enough time learning one thing, you become a master at it. And if you just find one person who will pay you to do that thing and then find another and then find another and then find another, don't go into this thinking that you're the exception, thinking that you're just going to make $100,000 overnight, thinking that you're the guy who just makes $1 million out of nowhere. We're all the heroes of our own story. We all think that we're better than we are, but we need to be realistic with these things and build into things and let it be gradual, because gradually, as you build yourself into this, you will get to a point where you'll never have to worry about a downturn. You'll never have to worry about what the economy does or what the government does or anything else, because your future is in your hands. And that all comes down to that one skill that you can master and make money
Right.
from. And so that's the biggest thing here. Like, do you want to be the best marketing manager in the world? Do you want to be the best lawyer in the world? Do you want to be the best at this, the best at that? The same is true on YouTube. If you want to go and learn all the lore about every single story out there and you want to go make a YouTube channel around that lore and just sell your gear off the back end of it, dude, you
Yeah.
can do that. It's possible. You're not going to do it overnight. You're not going to do it by this time next year. It's going to take you 5 years, most likely.
Yeah.
And so it's just
Yeah.
understanding that, okay, that's the thing. And it's going to take me 5 years to get from where I'm at right here today to that point where I never have to worry about anything and I'm doing what I love every single day, all day, every day.
Yeah.
And then it's like I said, earning enough money, not spending all of the money that you earn, investing the rest of it. And a lot of that comes down to just investing that in yourself. And a lot of people, like I said, just don't see the money that they're not making. And the longer you wait to do those investments, the longer you wait to invest in yourself, the longer you wait to get around different people like Jared and I who can help you actually get to these different milestones. That's what we specialize in. That's what we do. That's what we built the app for. Once you start to make progress on yourself, once you start to invest in yourself the right way, once you get around the right people, you can change your life very quickly. The only shortcut you will ever have in life is the other people that you invest in. And so invest in the right people. Don't invest in people who are out here just selling snake oil. You need to be smart enough to find the right people as your coach, as your mentor, as your tax lawyer, as your accountant. But everything's on the other side of other people, and you need to find the best people to have around you in all of those roles because that's what's going to maximize your potential.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Chase, just to piggyback on what you said, everything you said involves action. A lot of people say woulda, shoulda, coulda, wish I could do this, wish I could do that. They might watch YouTube videos like this. They might read books on how to. Action is the only thing that's going to move the needle forward. That's it. That's all you have is action. Now, I may have been, and probably Chase, you probably fall under this. We're probably too dumb in a way to realize the shit we do might not work, but we do it. I'm not hyping you up and me up. Like I've always been too dumb to realize this might not work. I'm like, okay, cool. A lot of people, a lot of you guys are too smart to realize it might work. That's the problem. Like I'm probably dumber than most of you guys watching this. I don't care if you're a line cook at Burger King. You're probably smarter than me, but you outthink things. You have to move and you have to take action. Even if it's the wrong direction, you're taking action and then you can pivot to the right direction. But a lot of people stay still and they're like, oh, well, yeah, this economy sucks. I gotta tell you, this year, one of my companies, we went from, and I'm not gloating, we went from two locations, two, and we franchised it. We just booked our 43rd location. So there's people out there that see the value in what we do, and they're like, shit, but it costs us millions of dollars to get to where we are. And a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of fucking nights. But the point is, me and my partners, like, we're too dumb to realize this can't fail. And it hasn't. But if we overthought it, we thought this a really stupid business and we never would have started this. My partner, Steve, in this. He's going to be doing a video with us talking about this. He's 27 years old. We're going to preface this with another video we're going to do. It's not even going to be a live, it's going to be in our app only that we want to start getting you guys involved in. We have guest speakers. Steve is probably worth right now, he's 27, easily $30 million. I love Steve. He's dumb as shit too, just like me, because he doesn't realize how things work in the sense of it could fail. He doesn't give a fuck. He's going to try. I'm going to bring in this app videos from multimillionaires that I know, Steve knows, and or I'm sorry, Chase knows on weird businesses and some good businesses too that aren't weird. We're going to bring you guys young people. Dan is another one. Steve, you know him. He's a copywriter. The dude's worth probably $4 million, and he's traveling for a whole fucking year right now with his fiance now. The point is, we're all too dumb to realize this might fail, but we don't care. Like, all right, it's cool. Let's have fun. The point is, have fun in your journey. This is your life, guys. This is it. The hourglass, it's gone. You're not going to get a restart. So enjoy your life and do the things that you know God put into your heart and into your mind to do. Start working towards those. Stop having paralysis of analysis and analyzing every YouTube video. I'm like, this guy's smart, this guy's stupid. Yeah, but both of these guys on YouTube that have a fucking following and they're both doing better than you. So who's really the dumb person? I love everybody that watches these videos. I love everybody in my Facebook group. I love everybody on my YouTube channel. Most of you guys don't take action. Most of you guys, I can see it when you message me back. You don't invest in yourself. I invite you to at least get into our app, our real app. Facebook, I just throw out bullshit out there. Our real app is going to give you solutions to this stuff. The link is down below. There's going to be a special offer link to this. You can cancel at any time, but if you don't want to invest in yourself and you give me negative shit on this video, I don't want to hear from you because I'm clearly winning and you're losing for a reason. With that, that's all I got on this. Chase, I'm sure I want to let you close on this. Have an amazing weekend, guys, but look at the app, look at everything that's involved. Kick the tires for 2 weeks. If you don't like it, cancel it, but you're not going to not like it. This is an amazing app that Chase and Kim built from the ground up. There's no other app like this. Oh, there's school, Jared. Fuck school. This beats school all night long. Chase, take it away, brother.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we've spent the last couple of years building out, just this whole system for this. And so one of the big things too is, like I said, one like big thing that I really wanted to cover on this video for this topic, people struggling and all that kind of stuff too, is like I remember one big thing that changed it for me was reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I remember kind of having those examples in my life too. I had a rich dad and I had a poor dad. I had a dad who was an entrepreneur who kind of paved his own way, made his own money. And I had a dad who worked his way up into the corporate dwellings of his business and stayed there for 30 years. And like I said, I mean, they were each both successful in their own way. One of them went on to make millions of dollars. One of them went on to lose millions of dollars. Like I said, when you're in entrepreneurship, you make a lot of money, but you also make a lot of mistakes that cost you a lot of money. And like knowing how to hold on to your money when the government's trying to tax you to hell, and knowing who to hire, how to build systems, how to create a company that's even worth money that somebody would want to invest in. Like those are all nuances that a lot of people don't seem to really understand these days. And I have a ton of experience with this stuff because I have invested in myself more than $100,000, $200,000 to learn these things from these kinds of people. That's why like doing this company and like in this business and like selling coaching services isn't foreign to me. Like I coach in other businesses. I coach other business owners. I coach people on how to build marketing agencies. I do that stuff every single week. And so even now we coach on this stuff. And so this is stuff that I've wanted to add to the app and stuff too, is like, do you want to be a freelancer? Do you want to start some kind of side hustle? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to know what it takes to create a business that is worth money, that people would actually want to buy or invest in or anything like that? That's what all this stuff is about. We want to really do more with this. We want to basically have more like what we call biz ops, right? It's going to be how to run different businesses, how to use other people's software to run your business, because that's the big thing too, is you don't want to just end up doing services for people all the time, because your time is limited, whether you're working for somebody or whether you're in your own business. You only have so much of your time and attention that people can pay for. And so you want to maximize how much that costs. It's got to be worth more than $10 an hour. It's got to be worth more than $15 an hour. I had a coaching company come to me and trying to pay me $75 an hour to be a coach in their coaching program. And I said, no, because $75 an hour, I look at that, and that's nothing. Like $75 an hour, like I'm not selling you an hour of my time for $75 because it's worth more than that. Those are the milestones that you have to hit with this. It's not a matter of just giving you a 3-hour course that's going to teach you how to start such and such business. There's so many other things involved with this. Knowing who to hire, when to hire, what you need for different things. Like these are all important nuances. And this is why we want you in the app, in the program, so that we can talk about this stuff week in and week out, and it will start to make sense for you, because I can't give you everything you need in a 3-hour course. It's ongoing. You're going to run into issues that you're going to need solved right away. You're going to want to ask questions. And that's why this stuff exists, so that we can kind of go over, okay, what kind of business do you want to start, and how do you want to make money with it? How do you want this to evolve with you? And what do you need in your particular kind of business as you go through this? This is the kind of stuff that we do in this program, because this is the kind of people that you want to be around. You want to be around people who think like this, who know how to stave off the taxes, pay less in taxes, make more money from different things. Like there's so many different nuances when it comes to actually starting your own business. And the thing is too, is maybe you need to start out as a freelancer. And then maybe later on you start hiring people underneath you. Maybe later on you need to start put together your systems and your SOPs and your marketing and all that stuff too. And this is all stuff that we can help you out with. And so as we help you out with this, as we go through this, this is the kind of stuff that we really want to start to shift this to. So if you want to start your own business, you want to start a side hustle, you want to stop worrying about your financial woes, you want to become a better man, a better father, you want to navigate your relationship, that's what this is all about. And that's what this membership really is. And so I invite you to go to the link below and really take a look at that, because I think it's more than you think it is. It's more than just having your habits tracked. It's more than just having access to our courses. It's really having access to us so that we can really start to mastermind as a group of men and really rise each other out of our situations. That's what all this comes down to. And that's why we're creating what we're creating here. And that's why we even created this app and put these courses together, put all these videos together, and put this whole brand together so that we can rise together. And that's really what all this stuff comes down to. We want to raise up men with us. We want to rise up ourselves, and we want to solve all these things too. We know you guys have similar goals. We know you guys are on a similar mission. And those are the guys that we really want to have around us week in and week out that we can mastermind with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chase, thank you. Guys, we're over our hour, so I don't want to take up more of your time. But if you're interested in the app, just kind of to kick the tires, Kim just put the link up here. The link will be down below. Take a look at it. We'll leave it up to that. If you're not interested, you don't click, then you're just a tire kicker. That's fine. We still love you. Stay in the Facebook community. Maybe someday you'll have be sick and tired of being sick and tired and actually want to do something. But we're here to help you guys in any realm possible. If you do want one-on-one coaching, Kim will put the link to our website where you can apply to that. Depending if it's business coaching, that's Chase. If it's interpersonal dynamics, frame control, coaching, relationships, that's me. You can apply. And then we'll jump on a free call to see if we can work out together. But I want to have you guys have an amazing weekend. We're going to jump off now. Tomorrow, we're going to have another YouTube video. I do want to put the link also to our YouTube channel for the Facebook group. We have a bunch of people in our Facebook group. It's going to be free for you. Just subscribe to our Facebook group. It's going to help our algorithm. So you're going to help the community grow anyway by just subscribing and seeing like the 300 videos we have on there now. It is a growing channel, but we do want to keep it growing. With that, have an amazing weekend. We will be back next. Will we be back here because it's the holiday weekend? I don't know. Are we going to do something Friday or not? I don't know.
So what's next week? We got the
It's
30th?
Labor Day weekend. Is it worth it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll probably take this next week off just for the simple fact that my birthday is on the Tuesday after that. And then also on top of that, we're moving and stuff too. So, I mean, I think we'll probably
So
take
we
the end of
won't
the
be
month.
back next week, guys, but the following week, which I believe is the 6th, we'll be back on that. So anyway, have an amazing Labor Day because we won't talk to you guys. It's kind of the end of summer, so get out there, have some
Yeah.
barbecues, enjoy the family. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down the link below or join our Facebook group. We're very interactive in that. With that, have an amazing weekend.